What's up, y'all? Wallis Deboro here. Those of y'all that don't know who I am, I'm a former Benin Man international player, won international cap in 2017. I have a U20 African Cup of Nations in 2013 Algeria with the Benin Man national team. I'm a product of the PSG youth system. Then I came to the States, played for New York Red Bulls, attended the prestigious Blair Academy High School. After graduation, got to play Division One college soccer at Cleveland State University, and prior to that, San Francisco U. After retiring from college soccer, I got the opportunity to play in the Benin top flight for a good 5 years. And once retiring from professional soccer due to a career-ending injury, ruptured my Achilles, got my badges and started to get involved in youth soccer. Especially in the United States of America. I've been talking about soccer in America, especially youth soccer, for the longest time, talking about differences between overseas and here, talking about ways that maybe we could try to improve the game here, talking about accountability within the U.S. Soccer Federation, talking about even accountability with the parents at youth soccer, a lot of the things that we were doing wrong, so on and so forth. And obviously I also broke down, the fact that the U.S. men's national team has been a failure and hasn't been able to, I guess, give hope, right, to the youth to dream, and so on and so forth, right? But as you all know, I'm a French-born Benin international. Also obviously, I work for the United States, also American. I have a book coming out soon. Obviously, this is not promo, but letting you guys know that I've been following me for a while. That talked about the state of U.S. soccer in America. I'm gonna make sure to obviously give you all the updates so you are able to follow up with me and how to get a copy, so on and so forth. That being said, today is Sunday, July 18th. Right, today is the final of the World Cup. Right now it is sunny in New Jersey, New York area. I am literally 20 minutes away from MetLife Stadium, which is where Spain is, I hope, gonna kick the butts of the Argentine national team in a couple of hours from now. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be out here, and looking forward to the game. All right, it's the last day. Obviously a lot of, for the past month, I've been literally watching every single game of this World Cup. Soccer is my life. I've been watching, even obviously they need the World Cup to start watching soccer. Watch the domestic leagues, European domestic leagues, Champions League, all soccer in the world. I've been watching it. However, for 1 month straight, it's almost as life kind of stopped, because every single day there was a game to be watched. And on the field, I want to say that it was a great World Cup. I'm not gonna say the best, but on the field it was a great World Cup. Off the field, that's something I'm not gonna get into, because this is not a politics podcast. Off the field, it wasn't a very good World Cup. But again, thank you to the players, for living up to the expectations, right? Obviously, if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, definitely didn't live up to the expectations. So, once again, that's a debate for another video. There's a lot of debates going on already in that regard. As a Frenchman too, obviously I didn't think we lived up to our expectations. Yes, we made it to the semi-final, but the team that we have is supposed to win the World Cup, supposed to make it to the final. So I'm very disappointed when it comes down to that. That being said, this video is more so to break down a little bit and talk about the state of of world soccer in general. But to break down the France-England game, the third place game that happened yesterday, and that ended in a 6-4 result in favor of the English team. Let me get started and saying this. As somebody who's been raised in a soccer environment, somebody who breathed soccer, somebody who started playing and watching soccer at the age of 2, somebody who's been raised in an environment where when your soccer team or your country plays, the whole country stops. somebody who's been around passion, somebody who's seen how powerful this game is, somebody who's always loved the game, and there's no other sport that will overtake this passion. I want to say that over the past 3 years, and let me even say this, the African Cup of Nations that was this past January 2026, right? Like a few months ago. The third place game, if I'm not mistaken, was between Nigeria, my second country, by the way. My wife is Nigerian, so shout out to Nigeria. Shout out to Niger. Nigeria against Egypt. I was watching the game, and I was like, even leading up to that game, right? It just seemed there was something that was off. Just some sort of like irrelevance of that game, right? Because both teams, when you look at Nigeria and even you look at Egypt, both teams could have made it to the final, right? And both players of those teams will have wanted to play in the final. Obviously, they didn't. And they are there, they have to play a third place game, and it's almost as if like folks are going really through the motions, right? Because it's like meaningless. It's not really, yes, it's ranking. You get to know who's finishes third, who's finishes fourth. Yes, in terms of FIFA ranking, CAF rankings, whatever the case may be, yes, that helps, but the players don't really care about that. Even the fans, I want to say, don't really care about that. However, though, it's recently, right, I want to say, so I really saw it firsthand this past African Cup of Nations, and same leading up to this France-England game. But I want to say that as a kid growing up, third place game actually meant something, right? People wanted to play those games, right? Whether it was fans, people looked forward to it. Yes, there was disappointment from the finals, from the semifinals, don't get me wrong, but people were still looking forward to play. However, even leading up to France-England game, well, that's a game that is irrelevant. And the reason why I'm saying I'm not going to say it's irrelevant because France lost to a very good England team, right? We got to give credit where it's due. But it could also be due to the fact that a lot of these players, though, in the final square of the World Cup, final square, I mean in the semifinals and finals, teams that made it that far, have players that have been active since the summer, and I want to say since July of 2000, well, even last summer we were talking about the Club World Cup. So see, I even forgot to mention that. I was literally going to say, well, since July, end of July, whatever, preseason started, and those players have been playing ever since without getting any breaks, which is true. But remember, in the US, we hosted the Club World Cup again last summer. So those players that are in that final square of the World Cup didn't get much rest. So the legs are heavy. I love the players are tired. Right, they're not machines. They need rest. And not to look down on any other sport, but when it comes down to professional soccer athletes that play overseas, we are the sports that get the least amount of rest possible. Our seasons are long. We get 2-3 weeks off, right? And that is insane. That is insane on your joints, and the games keep increasing and increasing, right? If FIFA came up, or with their Club World Cup, now I guess that's gonna be a routine. And I understand, if everything is for profit, everything is to make money, then we're gonna keep treating players like horses, and that is a problem because the quality is gonna start going down. Yes, we're still lucky to have the Mbappe, the Bellingham, the Dembele, so on and so forth, but as we keep doing this, quality will go down. It's important. Again, that's another video for that's another debate, right, for another video. Let me not divert from what initially I was saying, which is the third place game has become irrelevant over the years, and you could see that clearly leading up to this France-England game. I can speak on the France camp because obviously as a Frenchman I'm very connected to the camp. I know a little bit of the behind the scenes and stuff, and this was the last of arguably, I'm not even gonna say, for me it's not even arguable, I'm gonna say the best manager that the France national team ever had, Didier Deschamps. Thank you so much, Didier Deschamps, for your service. This is why I'm also very, very disappointed with the first half that we had. When you look at this game, as the game started, could clearly see the English team wanted more. They wanted way more in the way they were pressing, in the way they were moving the ball around, in the way they were combining at the front, in the way they dominated our midfield, right? Let's say it one more time. When we're talking about the game of soccer at the high level, you want to get something out of it, you need to win that midfield battle. And right away, the English team, within the first couple of minutes, it was clear that they wanted to approach this game a little differently than we did. Now, and again, mind you, there was a very good English team, by the way, because some people are saying, oh, that was the B English team, whatever. Yes, I get it. Their best player on this tournament, Bellingham, wasn't on the team. Harry Kane, their best scorer, wasn't on the team. I think Bellingham overtook Harry Kane. But that being said, but it was a very, very good team, right? They had guys like Saka, Rashford, guys that could actually start the game, right? That were on the field. And shout out to Saka, by the way, scoring a hat-trick. But when it came down to France, we had a fresh, a brand new center back pair. Lacroix, who, like I said, needs his flowers because it's not easy to step up to the plate and replace Saliba against Spain. I thought he was terrific. He tried, he did what he could do, and he stepped up really well. He did his thing. We had Ibrahima Konate, who hasn't played for the past month. Konate has been completely off. He had a shocker, right? As an experienced player, I thought he was going to be able to lead a little bit better this back line, but it was completely off. Theo Hernandez also has been having a shocker. I mean, not just on that game in this World Cup. I didn't think Theo Hernandez played well. I mean, the last 10-15 minutes that he came on against Spain, he did okay defensively, but you could tell clearly that that he wasn't in his game. Desiree Doué also, gave the ball away so many times on so many occasions, which wasn't good. Zaire Emery, I understand Zaire Emery is a young player. He's very talented. It was his first few minutes. Actually, I think he played a couple minutes before, but it was his first start at this World Cup. It's not easy, to step up. So, he ran everywhere. He tried to do his thing, so I give him a pass. Rabiot was very well in the game once again. Why same thing against Spain? I thought Rabiot was terrific in the game. I thought Mbappe, every time he got the ball at his feet, he tried to make something happen. Cherki, horrendous, right? I even have echoes that behind the scenes, his attitude hasn't been the best. And, he showed again, that was his first start. He could have shut everybody's mouth and, actually put in a performance, but he didn't. And there was basically a French team with no identity, who was split in the middle, in transition, who were open every single time. All it took for England was one ball, whether it's a switch of the field on one side towards Saka's, or it's a true ball. And, like I said, our defense was completely clueless, right? And we produced one of the most embarrassing first half I ever seen in the French national team history, going down 4-0. And I get it. It's a meaningless game or whatnot. After 1-2, we should have woken up. All right, we should have woken up. So, it was very shocking. It was very shocking. I'm glad we're going to halftime, and in the locker room, there were probably words that were exchanged, right? And it was a good move to bring our leader, right? Mbappe is our leader too, but to bring our defensive leader, Upamecano, on the field. I thought Upamecano this World Cup, for me, Upamecano is the defender of the tournament. Y'all can say whatever you want. I'm biased. Upamecano is the defender of the tournament. In 1v1 defending, he is a beast. He's also gotten so much better in distributing the ball. Him and Saliba formed an amazing pair. Saliba was incredible, and I'm so happy that I heard that Saliba won't require a back surgery. He's still gonna be out for a little bit, but thank goodness he's not getting a back surgery. I hope he gets back to his level because we need him, right? Up until Saliba's injury, I thought our defense was strong. Yes, we couldn't keeping clean sheets every game, which is fine when you have an offensive team that is so gifted and talented. You're gonna open up at some point, right? It is what it is. But yeah, Upamecano came on, Luka Dean came on for Hernandez, Desiree Doué was taken off, we put in Barcola, Cherki was taken off, and we were able to actually put Olise in the area where he was able to play, because for Cherki, Olise was moved out wide right, and then Dembele came on as well. And Dembele, I love the players, our Ballon d'Or, but let's be real, Dembele hasn't been having a great World Cup, right? And it's important that we hold people accountable, right? Because a lot of the time, since Mbappe is that big voice, people are quick to judge him, people are quick to put every losses on him. Meanwhile, statistically he's been there and leading the team too. He showed that he had some leadership capabilities, right? But on this field, in the second half, we woke up, started playing very well. A lot of combination between our front four. We came back in the game, we scored, but again, it is difficult to do a remontada. I mean, that's an English team that goes up 4-0. Fair play to us for coming back to 4-3. But, English made a couple of changes. Guys like Bellingham, who are on the bench, come in, bring that new energy. Bellingham gets the ball. That's what we're saying. There's a difference between high level, between a good player and a great player, right? Bellingham come on the field, get the ball on the right hand side, big switch to the left hand side, 1-on-1. I don't remember who was the attacker, was going against Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto get beaten, and then take him out, in the penalty box. Penalty, Saka, transform that PK, without any issues. And then now the score is 5-3, and then we end up getting another goal by Dembele, who's been missing a lot, to be fair. I know Olise also has missed a lot, but again, somebody like Olise, for me, was also one of the players of the tournament with Mbappe. And, yes, he missed a lot, but, at the end of the day, I think he showed that he cared. He did his best. The legs weren't fresh. It is what it is, right? Can't really knock him for that. I'm a little harsh on Dembele because I expected more from him. Yeah, despite I know in PSG he plays in a different system. He's playing as a striker, and he wasn't necessarily happy to be on the right-hand side, and he decided to put the team first and do the job. But there were some times where he should have finished some chances, and he didn't do so. So, for me, that was one of the issues. Let's talk about Kylian Mbappe, yo. Let's talk about Kylian Mbappe. In that half, before we even talk about Kylian Mbappe, when Upamecano came on, that's when we really saw the leader, the leader of the defensive line. Upamecano, like I said once again, for me, is the player of he's a defender of the tournament for me. I can't put anybody next to him when it comes down to that. Offensively, Mbappe showed that he can lead this team. People were doubting his leadership skills. He showed that he's a leader, a captain. He's a goal scorer. He's the best goal scorer in the world. There is no doubt about it. Right? Anyone that's trying to come up for him for his performance, he scored 2 goals, had 1 assist, right, in that one game. And in terms of it goes, I think he's at 10 goals, 4 assists, something like that. He's the best scorer in the World Cup history. Put some respect on Mbappe's name. On top of that, best goal scorer of the Champions League that just ended, best goal scorer of La Liga. Yes, we can go on and on. Yes, he hasn't won with the team any major trophy. That doesn't only depend on him. There's 11 players on the field. When statistically you have a player who's scoring 42 goals a season, I don't know if I'm correct, but 40-ish goals a season, the problem cannot be him. If anything, he is a solution. So to all these haters, that are out there trying to talk about Mbappe or whatnot, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. Mbappe, in terms of his stats, he did what he could do, right? There are other issues that people are not talking about. This is beyond him. He's he's a legend. He's already a legend at 27 years old. And, his calm, his coolness, he's a whole nother level. I gave Jude Bellingham his flower because Jude Bellingham has been, and we know because we are Real Madrid fans and we watch Real Madrid games. Obviously, I'm PSG fan, but I'm also a fan of Real Madrid. We knew that Bellingham was the player that he is. Some players were, not just players, actually, some people were debating how, Bellingham shouldn't have been in the English team leading up to this World Cup. Today, they're batting their words, right? We knew what kind of player Bellingham was, and he showed his step up to the plate. So it's a new dimension, Bellingham. But as with all due respect to Bellingham is a great player. Let's put some respect on Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe is a whole nother level. That's a whole nother sphere. If Ronaldo and Messi have their own sphere, right, that a lot of people haven't been catching up with, they have their own sphere of legends of their own. Mbappe is the sphere right below, okay, and everybody else is under that sphere, okay. Let's put some respect on his name. I feel gutted for him, and for the French team, and the guys that gave their best yesterday, because we have wanted to finish on a good note, to give Deschamps the best possible send-off he could have had. It is what it is. But once again, like I said, fair plays game. I think there were a lot of things that were going on, especially after the Spain defeat, and some of the guys didn't want to play, and at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Now it's time to go on vacation for the French and the English team, right? But my main focus is the French national team. It's time to recuperate and come back with your clubs, your respective clubs, at the beginning of the season. Get a good pre-season and pick up where you left off, right? I know, and I'm gonna be controversial here. I know for a fact that Mbappe only won individual trophies, and he's likely gonna win. He's likely gonna be the best scorer at this World Cup, because I don't see Messi scoring 2 goals today against Spain. But again, I may be wrong, but I think Mbappe is also gonna be the best scorer of the tournament and the best scorer in the World Cup history ever. However, though, at the end of the year in December, I will back Mbappe to win the Ballon d'Or. I will back him to win the Ballon d'Or because of all these individual prizes that he's been winning. It's not easy to do. With all the adversity, whether it's internal in France, whether it's from other countries, Paraguay, Argentina, everything. This French team has been attacked. Mbappe has been attacked personally, and he always stood up. He always did his thing. So I'm gonna back him to come back in September and have a great 4 months and to be the Ballon d'Or this year. Mbappe should have had the Ballon d'Or in 2018, but because FIFA, and I said, well, even though FIFA is not the only one, no, there are journalists and stuff like that, but because he was quote unquote young, they, in order not to give him the Ballon d'Or that actually matters, they gave him the under 21 Ballon d'Or. However, they call that stupid ass Ballon d'Or, right? I think Pogba had it too beforehand and stuff like that. I mean, it's not stupid, but you get what I mean, right? It's not relevant as the actual Ballon d'Or. But Mbappe should have that Ballon d'Or that year. Especially I think he was a World Cup winner that year. They decided to give it to Modric. I'm not saying Modric didn't deserve it, but I think Mbappe deserved it more that year. So yeah, I'm backing him to be Ballon d'Or this year. Again, what do I know, right? I don't vote. I'm not part of the journalists that vote, but it is what it is. Stay tuned. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Peace out.